Shalom, and welcome to a message for the Parsha for Parshat Mishpatim. In this Parsha, we have so many of the day-to-day laws and rules of living. Meaning, in last week's Parsha, we received the Torah, was such a holy and lofty and spiritual thing, and this week, we immediately begin to learn all kinds of laws and rules pertaining to litigation, pertaining to partnerships, pertaining to business dealings, pertaining to day-to-day life and the life between one person and another. In other words, the Torah is telling us, this is how I want you to live your life. Before we go over to speaking about all the spiritual, philosophic, and holy items that there is to talk about, we want to first talk about the practical and the down-to-earth. It's very, very important. One of the many things that's mentioned in this week's Torah, in this week's Parsha, it discusses if somebody, God forbid, hurts another person and that person requires medical attention, that person requires time to heal, that person requires compensation because of the time that went by that they were not able to work, they were not able to earn a living, and the Torah discusses those matters. And it's interesting that that's where it comes from. This whole idea of suing somebody for damages and so on comes from this week's Parsha. But what I want to focus on is, one of the things that it does mention is, it says, V'rapo yirapeh, and the healer shall heal, which means that you need to pay for the healer, you need to pay for the person who provides the medical attention, the medical care. That means that is the person who caused the damages, the person who caused the accident, the person who caused the person to need medical care needs to provide the means, the financial means to pay for it. Okay? But kind of by the way, we learn something very interesting. And in fact, it's not just a by the way thing, but it's a very fundamental thing. Because really the question is, does a doctor have the permission? Does the doctor have the right to heal another person? Does a doctor have the, God-given green light to provide medical attention, to provide medical care? Because if you think about it, and in fact there are some misguided so-called religions that actually purport and make a whole big deal of the fact that, hey, God is the one that heals. And God is the one who provides a person with life and with proper health. And therefore we have no business, they claim. We have no right to intervene. We have no business interjecting into God's plan. Is that really the case according to Judaism? Is that really the way we should view things? I mean, of course, we have so many Jewish doctors, and some of the greatest of the rabbinical sages over the centuries, over the years, have actually been doctors. One that comes to mind, obviously, and is the most famous, is the Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimonides. He was also a very prominent doctor, and he wrote many works on medicine. There was another one later, the Rashba, and so on and so forth. Some of the greatest Torah giants were doctors. So obviously it's okay, but the question is, why is it okay? And how come that's not considered, mixing in or disrupting Hashem's plans? So first of all, going back to what I mentioned from this week's Parsha, well, it says, V'rapo yirapeh, and the healer shall heal. So the sages tell us, Mikan, from here, Shenitna rishut, that there was given permission, there was given the allowance, lirofei, for the doctor, lirapot, to heal. So from here we learn, from here is the source that we know that a doctor can heal, because the Torah would not refer to you for one paying for or compensating for the costs of the doctor if it was forbidden to use a doctor, if it was not right, if it was not correct to use the services of a doctor. So what is the right approach? I mean, they do have a certain point, these so-called religions. Yes, God is the one that heals. Don't we believe that God's the one who heals? Is it the human being that provides the healing? Obviously not. Everything comes from God. So what is it that we believe, and why is it that it's okay, not only okay, but also strictly encouraged and absolutely imperative that one uses the services of a good doctor? The answer is, of course we believe that everything comes from Hashem. Of course we know that everything, including one's health or especially one's health, one's life, and one's healing comes from Hashem. But Hashem himself, like everything else he did in this world, he wants it to come to through natural means. Hashem has his, what we call shluchim, his emissaries. He has his, so to speak, agents that work on his behalf. Just like when we earn a living, that comes from Hashem. That comes from the blessings we get from Hashem. But at the same time, Hashem wants us to work. Everybody has their particular agent, namely their profession, their career, their business, through which their blessing comes. Likewise, Hashem wants it to come through a doctor. Hashem wants it to come through the medical program, the medical devices, the medicines, that is, all that which Hashem provides, that we should be able to bring about, we should be able to transfer, that is, transmit, that is, Hashem's blessings, Hashem's healing. In fact, you can see it if you look closely to the words, the expression we just used, that adage, mikan, from here. From here, we see it was given permission for a doctor to heal. So I heard a very interesting commentary that says that really what it says is from here, meaning from here up above, from here, from Hashem's place, it was given permission to heal. That means when one goes to the doctor and one seeks out medical treatment and understands fundamentally that it comes from here, that ultimately the treatment comes from Hashem, the blessing comes from Hashem. It's just that it has to go through a natural source, a natural agent, in this case the doctor or the medicine or the surgery, whatever it may be, then the healing comes. But God forbid if somebody puts their whole faith in the human doctor, in the natural medicine, in the medicine that's just generated by nature, by the physical material world, then God forbid sometimes that could be actually a detriment in terms of bringing about the blessings.